This episode of AMSAtv is proudly brought to you by the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners.
Oh, hello medical student, I didn't see you there. You might be forgiven for wondering what the relevance of that opening sequence is to AMSA, and that's fair enough because it's a very bad pun. What we're talking about in this edition of AMSAtv is fitness to practice, an area which has been getting a lot of attention in the media recently and which directly affects you. Some of you might remember signing a piece of paper during medical school which outlined your responsibilities as a student doctor. Some of you might not, and that's either because your medical school doesn't have such a policy or you're at a shoot that day. Now we're going to find out more about fitness to practice policies and why they matter to Australian medical students. Dr. Paul McGurk, thank you very much for joining us today on this edition of AMSAtv. We're talking today about fitness to practice policies and why they're important. But you start by telling us what they are and what they involve.
There's a wide variety of definitions out there. I think the most user-friendly one is to really look at three essential criteria of what makes a good doctor. And that is appropriate clinical competence, acceptable professional behaviour, and freedom from impairment. Why it's relevant is that we have to accept that medical students become doctors, and as students they are exposed to and have different expectations that would not be usual for other undergraduate students in other courses.
So from some of the policies which are around the world and some of them that you've seen in the past, what do they tend to involve?
Again, good question. The issue is that there's a lot of variation and that happens very much so within Australian medical schools and to a good extent internationally.
And there's obviously some medical schools that don't have these policies.
Yes.
Why are they important?
If you don't have a fitness to practice policy, I think there's always going to be a concern about your ability to detect students who are performing poorly in those areas. There's also an increased expectation by the public that the medical schools should be graduating doctors who have appropriate professional behaviours, and in universities the assessment systems are very much aligned with academic conduct, but much less ability and sensitivity in picking up professional behaviour issues.
Okay, so why is it important for students to be involved in the process of developing fitness to practice policies?
I think for it to be really accepted by medical students, they've got to be involved in it. They've got to be involved in the defining what criteria are appropriate and therefore to give them a sense of ownership for it.
What we've heard today is that fitness to practice is a big issue and it's not going to go away. We've also heard that it's very relevant to medical students and that students need to be involved in developing a national policy on fitness to practice. For more information, visit the AMSA website or get in touch with your local AMSA rep. We want you to be involved in developing a national fitness to practice policy for students.